Hey guys, welcome to Ready Up episode 12. My name is Joshua Davis, aka Grouch, also known as Llama Prophet. And this is the Tournament of Legends special edition. Today I'm joined by Denchi, aka Steve. We've got Ram, and we've got Sizer. We've also got Mr. Blue will be joining us as well. I'm going to be going over we'll do a little recap of the past 2 weeks. It's been a little bit crazy in the Guild Wars 2 world, and then we'll jump right in and talk about the Tournament of Legends and some stuff that went on behind the scenes, and then we'll be talking to the players and kind of getting their input on how well they played or where they could improve, what you guys could do to kind of play on their level, so to speak. And yeah, we'll start from there. So, like I mentioned, it's been crazy past 2 weeks. I actually missed the last episode already up, so I didn't get a chance to say, oh my gosh, the feature pack is released, but that was a thing, and that did happen. So as you guys know, like wardrobe, reward tracks for PvP, all that stuff went in. Great update. Our numbers in PvP are through the roof. It's really doing really awesome. We also had the release in China just a couple days ago, which was amazing. And again, the Tournament of Legends. Oh, I guess my can is being a little crazy. I'm going to move that over here. Now, we also had the Tournament of Legends, so we're going to jump right into that. One of the cool things we wanted to bring up real quick before we jump into the show is some of the help that we got from the community. A group by the name of DPS, Digital Professional Sports, came out of nowhere and offered to help us run the tournament. And I think my producer guy is going to turn on a video real quick here, and he's just going to show us the setup these guys came through and put it together like on a moment's notice. They loaded everyone into one house, had like 20 stations set up, just went all out ham. And helped us with the tournament. It was actually really, really cool. And so I just wanted to say a big shout out to DPS in helping us run the tournament. And as you guys can see, they went all out. Got some sweet graphic cards or some graphics for helping admin the tournaments with the rules and whatnot. They had all these stations. Just much love to these guys for helping us out. It was I know it made Blue's life easy. And when we get him on here, hopefully he can talk about how that helped out and whatnot. So anyways, big shout out, and I'm just gonna let this video. Oh, I'm back. So yeah, we're gonna bring over Team TCG and little Q&A. We got him. All right, there we go. Mr. Denchi, say hello for us.
Yeah, what's up?
I just want to call out Mr. Denchi's swag pose. He's very relaxed. We've got Ram. You wanna, there you go. We also got Sizer, I'm sure you guys recognize him.
Hello.
And we've got Mr. Blue, who's our shoutcaster for NA.
Hey, what's up?
All right, so again, congrats guys for winning the the European Tournament of Legends. Quite the feat. You guys didn't drop a single game in all of your sets. A poll that we put up last, it was 2 weeks ago, I believe. We took a poll in the community and said, like, hey, who's going to win this tournament? And you guys actually came in, I think, third in the poll with like a measly, like, 10% of the votes. Were you guys confident going into this tournament you guys were going to take it?
Yeah, we were confident, I guess.
We were.
To a certain extent. I mean, we knew 55 HP monks was our biggest competition, but we were confident we could beat them.
Definitely. It's basically after the post-patch. We noticed that basically all of our main classes were buffed in a way with the sigils and stuff like this. Yeah. So we were confident really because we had dueled. We only theory crafted for 5 days actually.
Yeah.
Before we took on, this was the first day, the Monday before the Legend tourney. We started as our 5-man roster, playing with this line we had. This was the first time we actually did it, but then we did a few team queues. We noticed the strengths of Shad in a team queue where they couldn't see our build, of course. We said no to every single scrim with any team because we wanted to come with the surprise factor.
Right. So you mentioned a lot of your classes were buffed. So the comp you guys ran, which I believe was Thief, Mesmer, Ellie, Warrior, and Guardian. I would say pre-415 that was not a viable comp, especially on the Ellie and Mesmer front.
So 4 of the classes we were still running pre-patch. I mean, our main comp pre-patch was like...
kind of new.
Yeah, Ellie was new. I used to like play Necro or a second Warrior or something like that. But the changes to Celestial Amulet and the Strength Runes just made Ellie that... Gave it the extra kick it needed to just like become really, really strong.
So I know we're probably getting a lot of questions on builds in chat. Denchi, were you running 010, 03030 or 0010 3030?
00, 10, 30, 30 with protection on aura.
Okay.
Inner.
All right. So
perma protection basically.
And obviously running the Celestial Amulet and getting Buku Might stacks and just doing a ton of condition damage as well as the power.
Yes, yes. Battle Sigil plus the Strength Runes and then Celestial. It brings you up to 2.4k power and 1.4k conti damage when you have the full Might stacks. So you just hit like a truck.
Right. Is there any comp that you guys would be scared of? Say 55 HP monks was to change up their comp and run something. What would be the counter comp for you guys?
I guess most people would say Ellie, but I don't think so.
No. I don't know, like, I don't feel like we had much of a counter comp. Like, we would just try to focus on out-rotating.
Yes.
Kind of like
Definitely
55
like
plays. Like, 55 also plays for out-rotation instead of just, like, taking a comp that's really strong team fights or whatnot. So, like, if they have a strong comp that counters up, we'll try to, like, single out those targets or force other skirmishes instead of changing our comp.
All right,
we focus on playing main classes, mainly. Just to be 100% true with our class.
That's a good point. Like right on NA right now, there's a lot of teams that are trying to change their comp like on a daily basis.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
Yeah.
And so you think that so you think running whatever you're actually good at, like your main class, is actually going to be more beneficial than trying to stack like a meta comp?
Probably, because then you can just focus on team rotations and team play instead of just trying to learn a class. Like, I think that's the main reason we did really well is we feel we have like a good idea of how we want to play the game. Like, we didn't have a tactic or like a strategy going into the games. We more had like, okay, we're gonna play off calls and the matchups we know we can take.
Yeah.
And I mean, if you know your class really well and you know you can beat your matchups you take, then it's really easy to rotate.
Yeah.
Like, it's like if we send Ron far, we know he can beat basically anyone 1v1, so we can do it. But if we send someone that has like a 50% chance to beat one, then it might snowball. He dies, they crush mid. Like, if you feel confident at what you play, you can do rotations accordingly.
So for new players, then, like a lot of players will come on the forums and say, "Hey, what's the best profession that I can learn to jump right into PvP?" Would you advise those players to stick to find that really strong profession, or would you advise them to find something that like speaks to them? Like, I think a Mesmer is awesome, so I should play Mesmer. Like, what's the best route for them?
Probably go for whatever they feel most like. What
the class which
what
appeals
works
most
for
to them.
you? Like, I mean, I usually play like a caster class in any game. That's why I went for Ellie too, and Guild Wars was because.
No, but in Guild Wars it doesn't matter. Like, you try one class and then you can straight away try another class. There's not much grinding, and able to try another class.
Yeah, like you have the option to try the classes, and then whatever class you feel fits your playstyle.
Yeah, exactly. It's the playstyle, I would say, mostly. Like, we wouldn't want to swap a bunker guy, or he has the mindset of a defensive player to take an offensive role. And that's really important, I think we did. We keep our roles, kind of. Yeah. What should I say?
No, I think the new players should try their classes in PvP first, before they level them up, so have an idea of which interests them.
Yeah, and like the feel is like I've been for the past 8 months, I've basically been multi-classing all classes except Mesmer, just because Ellie has been really, really unviable. But I mean, it pays off. Once you know one class, you can just move on to the other classes. But it's good if you have that one class you feel really confident in.
So is there any other build on Ellie that you'd play right now besides from DD?
I'm looking at SD builds. Like, I'd probably try. I'm trying to find a really good full burst SD build. But right now, no, I wouldn't go anything else in DD.
He wants
staff has
these two counter
good too, but staff is good too. But I just don't like the playstyle of staff.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't like AoEs. Yeah.
So 55 HP monks, like we said, they didn't drop a single game in the entire tournament. Neither did you guys. You guys met in the final, kind of the Clash of Titans. What could have 55 HP monks done better, not only on the comp front, but also like just in the strategy and team play front that would have gave you guys a run for your money?
I mean, they all
really question, I guess.
I mean, they. What I noticed was that we basically won all the initial fights of the first games. Kylo is kind of. I can't recall it exactly, but Kylo, we knew that they were strong on. We always knew that they were strong. We had played actually Team Q versus them before, and we had lost on Kylo and beat them on Temple. So we were still, we knew it was really close. It was like this game as well, except they won the last time in Team Q. So we thought just do our thing kind of, except fucking kill that trap. Kill that trap.
Oh yeah, we
beep.
a couple of times.
When shots do not sound, when there is no sound on those shots, you are quite pissed off if you get hit.
Yeah.
And just the
But,
one hit.
I don't know. I feel like the difference between is like we win basically all the team fights versus them. I don't think they pulled out a single team fight in the game. The only reason they would like win some skirmishes and like rotation wise. But probably what they should do is just like work on coordinating team fights, and they'll be a lot stronger.
I think they should work on defending Misha more. I was really free.
Oh yeah, that's true. Like Misha was like a free kill to me in Slicer. Like so many times I just trained him, and he went down. I don't know.
And that's
it felt like it wasn't being body protected by Shadow. I don't know.
a Mesmer really needs protection, or he becomes a very, very foodie class, basically.
To other thieves, at least.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
We
like a
just call Elsa
cheeseburger at
food.
McDonald's. Just shove it in, you know.
Rums from the streets.
Excuse me.
I can see how red blue is just over the webcam. Oh man! All right, so we talked about. Actually, I want to talk about one other thing real quick. So, Size, you've been playing SD like a ton. I think you just made the shift back over like what, a month ago? A little longer than that. You've been mostly been playing DP before that, right?
No, I've always wanted to stick with SD, but then in cheese mode we experimented with me being more bursty builds. But then I went back to SD like 2 weeks before patch. I just missed it. It's just my spec. Oh.
Yeah, we said you don't have to play pistol, we play what you feel most comfortable with. We don't push each other in one direction if they don't feel comfy with it. Because they know, he has played, what is it, 2,000, 3,000 games on Thief. You know, and like 1.5k of those were SD. So of course he knows exactly his strength in every perspective, in every situation in the game. And
I like SD after patch. I was scared initially with Lissa that it might not be viable, but I've actually preferred without Lissa. It's much more better.
So basically, like as a team, we didn't have much practice for this tourney. Like we probably played 20 team queues together. I mean, as the full lineup, not more. I wouldn't say. So like we tried to just stick to whatever we're confident in, and then so that we could just play the game off calls and rotations instead of having to like have a set strategy of how we should play it, because we didn't have time to set that up.
Yeah, as well as coming with that surprise factor. No scrimming with anybody before post-patch to the tournament. No ESL on that Thursday. We didn't want to show anything, so we can come in with the surprise factor.
And I think a lot of people underestimated Ellie too. Like,
yes,
it was pretty obvious that Ellie was super strong, but it was weird that people weren't running it more. Because Ellie is like that class that can do so much. Like you have some of the strongest sustained DPS. You have CC so that you can set up coordinated bursts. And you have some of the best support, like on a DPS hybrid class. So like, if I was in the fight, Cage would have died like a lot faster if I wouldn't be healing him every 10 seconds. So I don't know why people underestimated it.
To shift gears a little bit, Blue, were there any teams that really impressed you that maybe didn't make it in the top 8?
Trying to see here at the moment, because we didn't watch too much before the round of 16, but there was actually in the one set, it was kind of a disappointment because we had the disconnect at the end of it, but I was kind of impressed with who were they playing? They were playing you guys actually, with how well Otis team seemed to do with their first round against you. That one actually surprised me quite a bit with how well they were doing, especially with that really weird composition they had. They had a really weird warrior running with like a shout heal build or something. What was up with that?
Yeah, they were good.
Yeah,
we had a disconnect the first game too, which like made the rotations really awkward. I think we lost one fight on close, and then Cage DC'd, and then we just had to, like,
remember
stall
this
the game
now.
for a long time. And Slicer got wrecked.
I got eviscerated so many times.
Yeah, he was eviscerated.
It was so bad.
He was eviscerated.
Each did more than 10k damage on me.
Yeah.
The surprise eviscerate.
They were good. I mean, they swapped the 2-cap when they couldn't get mid, and they controlled buffs and stuff. So it was a good game.
So that brings up an interesting question: is anyone on your team a rager?
Ranger?
Anyone
A
on your team?
Ranger.
A rager.
Actually, surprisingly not.
Not really.
We don't have a rager in this team. This is why me and Science actually are here. with Denshi, Tage, and Health. Because we do not rage, we keep a professional level in every game. And this is, for me, very important. Very important.
No, absolutely. I mean, it's going to be interesting. Like, I'll be honest, my experience with is mostly on NA. And I've played with a lot of teams, and It can make it a lot more difficult when players are raging and just kind of going off the handle.
There's a few famous ones.
Like, like Denji is very easy to play with because it's like you're always laughing when you're playing with Denji. Like, whether he does something just absolutely silly or whatever. But it's easier to play when people are having fun anyways. On that note, though, shout out to the Hellseth. I believe he is retired from Guild Wars 2. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's at least as much as I know.
Yeah,
for now.
it's Hellseth.
For now.
Yeah, it's Hellseth. We don't 100% know.
I mean, he said he'd probably be connected to the game in one way or another, but he's not going to be on the team for now at least.
I'm quite sure he would return by another tournament.
Along with the king.
Yeah,
so
Maybe
too.
the next TOL.
Yeah.
If there's enough of a draw, I think he'll come back. It's just that like right now he just doesn't have.
Right now he's busy with IRL and other stuff.
Would you call that the return of the king?
Well, you know what, wait and see.
Yes, yes. So what are you guys going to do to replace him? Out of curiosity.
We haven't.
We're actually still deciding what classes we want as a 5th player.
Yeah, we
Like,
rather the person. We value a lot of personal things as well, not just
like
how he.
mindset,
Yeah, the mindset needs to combine with us.
Like,
Exactly.
there's a lot of players in this game that have a really good mechanical skill level.
Exactly.
But their understanding of conquest is like 0.
Exactly, and when they end up in a situation where they haven't been before, they do the most.
The rotations,
You know,
basically.
Yeah,
the
rotations,
most-
positioning, everything. Like, people are really, really bad at it.
Yeah, and also like this
No,
team.
actually, so
Well,
what classes
I
were
just
you
wanted
thinking
to
of? Or, I don't know.
Yeah,
I had an engine and Ellie in mind, but it's all still being discussed.
Yeah, but that
Yeah.
we can take later. We have no idea. I mean, we're in trial phase after post patch. We still probably didn't find the most OP things either.
Yeah, there's no
Yeah.
meta yet really created.
Gone quite far. Yeah, we have quite nice tweaks on our builds. We have tried. So we keep coming with the newest shit. I think
Yeah, I'm pretty
make
sure there's a lot of changes you can do to Ellie to make it a lot stronger than it is right now. Like, this is like the first version I made of the DD build. Basically, I changed like 3 traits.
Yep.
I just like, well, it's the same setup, but I just changed some major traits.
I mean, the
Yeah.
DD spec is kind of locked into a certain meta of traits, right? You take.
Well,
I mean,
run,
if you're running 010, 30, like there's really only a couple traits you could take that's different, right?
yeah, basically, like, you can either go full cantrip, where you take like vigor region on cantrips, you take cantrip cooldown reduction, and then you take the passive proc. I went for protection on aura, and then I go for the passive, like when you take a critical hit, you get regen, and then I took 1 conjurum and 1 water instead. So I didn't go like the full selfish build. I went for more team support and like survival. It depends on how you like to play it.
What would you say the meta is on EU right now? Is there an established meta? Like, any people have said like, oh, this is the condition meta, this is the X meta. Like, what do you think the game is revolving around right now?
no meta.
No meta.
Just anything
No
goes?
stable meta. No.
Anything goes.
I like this patch in the way that, firstly, like one-on-ones, for example, there are a lot of classes. You can swap sigils and you can counter each other just by the sigils. I mean,
Yeah,
people
and-
barely looked at generosity sigil. I mean, I swapped my build already from the TOL. Even though I
Yeah.
might use the same weapons. I have swapped sigils and I swap sigils every game for what I face. I like
And a
this.
lot of it is just possible because of the new UI. Like, you wouldn't be bothered to do it before.
Right,
But
because
now
you have to go to
you
the
can do
vendor
it so
and run
easily,
around.
so why not? Like, I was swapping during the TOL, and then just because I was new to the thing, I forgot about swapping out, so I just was stuck on a generosity sigil for 2 of our games, which is 55 HP monks and stuff. But
Nice. Hey, generosity's not bad.
no,
I mean, it's actually
but Doom
amazing.
is better.
So
Somehow it feels like there's never a meta really, because you know there's always the possibility of something better.
Yeah.
Except we say Hambo days where it was ridiculously OP. You remember the cheese mode, cheesy days
Yeah.
of double warrior on each side point, and then we just kept the mid fight going, and you couldn't touch us.
Yeah.
Soldier warriors.
Bunker DPS CC. I mean, okay.
you guys are getting a lot of comments about how handsome this team is, so well done. So maybe that's some criteria for your new 5th player.
Yeah.
Must be
live up.
handsome.
Yeah,
We should have brought Tage on too.
yeah, we
Oh.
needed Tage. I don't know where to. We love the Slovakian paladin. You know, he gets credit also.
Holy Pala?
Holy palo.
Holy paladin.
So we're gonna watch the clip real quick of the recap of the tournament that our community coordinator Mark made for us. We'll look forward to that awesome music, and we'll be right back. So we're gonna mute these guys. We're gonna go to that, and we'll come back. We're gonna talk a little bit about what teams can be doing to kind of prepare for the next Tournament of Legends, which is going to take place in June, July. And again, we're going to be opening that up to a lot more teams, probably double. And so we just want to get some tips from the top players, and we'll go from there.
Welcome to the Guild Wars 2 Tournament of Legends.
Since playing this new patch, I've been over really fast. This is not one of those. Show us your love for Guild Wars 2 right now. Do this chieftain kill! It goes to the red team!
Tanky, so it's going to take these for quite some time before we can get one of these guys low enough. We're also seeing whip off onto him. They're trying to take him down here right now.
Kind of solo roaming. Never do math on television.
There goes, going to pop right back on. The trip shots are going to keep rolling right onto the point right now.
This fight is getting intensely interesting over here in the middle. Lord Nagnag versus Sizer is continuing on here. I think his house has taken out Super. We're back at Windmill. This fight's continuing.
We are going to see TCG moving on to the finals.
And the chat has just exploded.
I've never seen a Twitch chat go this fast. And so we got this big mid fight going here at the moment.
Oh my god, Helsa is doing tons of damage out here from the sides.
And TCG, they're going to do it! They're going to win!
They're going to take this game and this tournament 3-0 by that entire last game.
Amazing comeback.
Congratulations to TCG.
Dodge, bro.
All right, and we're back. So, anyways, congrats again to TCG on taking that tournament, and thanks Blue for casting that tournament. We also had the stream was broadcasted in 4 different languages. We had Chinese, we had French, we had German, and then obviously English. So again, thanks to all our shoutcasters and DPS for making that possible. Much appreciated. So, anyways, I wanted to mention before. A lot more teams will be allowed into the tournament the next time around. We originally planned for Tournament of Legends to take in around 16 teams, and we were really hoping that we'd hit 16 teams. We were kind of, remember the first meeting we sat and talking about this, we're like, oh man, it's gonna be really, really embarrassing if we can't get 16 teams. And remember by the end of the first day, we had I think like 60 to 90 teams sign up, something like that. It was insane. And
70 something.
We ended up having to close up the sign-offs because I think at the end we hit like what, 230?
238 teams, if memory serves correct.
Full teams.
Yeah, those were full teams. There was about I believe 30 to 40 others that had partial rosters.
How many troll teams?
In all honesty, I was surprised at how little there were. There was only like maybe like 5 or 6 that had to end up deleting because they were just like ridiculous entries. So
the point is that the next Tournament of Legends we're going to try to allow for more teams to sign up, right? Like that's the main goal, is being able to get in. You know, this time we did 64 in each region. Next time maybe we need to do 128. And we want to bring more players in. We want to make those tournaments rewarding for players as long as they make it past the first round. And the tournament we did last weekend, as long as you made it into the out of the 64 round into 32, you got a Llama finisher. And we want to continue to do that with the next tournament. So if you get it out of 124, get into 64, we're going to have prizes for those players. So we want more teams to participate. It's a fun thing, you know, something to do on the weekends, and it is good fun. So that said, for a team that's brand new, coming out of World v. World or PvE or wherever, like what are some tips? And I know Sizer had one for us. Like what's the #1 thing you can do right now just to kind of get into PvP and get situated?
Sorry?
Tips for new players, Sizers.
Wait, for new players, what should they do?
Oh, a tip for new players, yes.
Yeah.
So the biggest advice would be to sort out your keybinds, because once you have proper keybinds, so with every key you should be able to move in all directions and press as fast as possible. Having this will just increase your skill ×2.
Are you playing right now, Sizer?
And it will enable the learning curve easier.
Sizer, you're actually playing right now?
Last year?
He never quits. He's still practicing.
What?
Anyways, what's up, Denchi?
The keybind thing is actually really true, because I remember last year when we started, me and Hicks were experimenting with Ellie, and we started doing teleport bursts. Both of us like rebound all our keys to be able to do it as fast as possible. Like, we changed our keybind so that you could do the combos without having to lose movement or whatever. So that's actually a really good trick.
So are you binding your actual like weapon skills to 1 through 5, or are you moving them to other keys?
Oh, pressing 5 is also too slow. It should
depending on your keyboard. I mean, my if you go from like 1 to 5 in skills, mine is 2, 1, 3, 4, F.
Because generally pressing 5 it takes longer than pressing maybe F or C, X. So So they should be key-binded, which 90% don't, maybe.
So, how do you recommend players like, so you want to find a team, right? Like, obviously, it's a little bit easier for you guys because you're kind of part of the top echelon. You see each other all the time. You play each other. You see each other in solo queue. Like, what do you think the best way for a player to find a team is right now? Should they solo queue and kind of meet up players there?
You kind of have to just join different teams. Like, I remember when I started playing, you know, the fall, like the first fall when the game was released, the first half year, it was really, really hard to get yourself out there because there were these teams that were super hardcore from the first day. And they kind of created the scene. So like for me to work my way up, I think I went from like 6 different teams until me and a friend created a team that was like actually successful and started beating the big names. Like I think you just have to work your way up and then find different players from different teams you're on, and then you can finally create a team you enjoy playing with. Like I'd find one player from each team I played on that I like had the same mindset or same, I don't know, same ambition. And eventually you find those 5 players or 4 other players you want to play with.
Or you do
it takes time.
No, but also recommend the forums. On the forums it's quite good.
The best players from each team, destroy teams, and make the most superior team. That's also a version.
Yeah, that's a good way.
That happens a lot. Like teams will disband, and then you get a new team that is 4 of the original players, and then they kick the guy they didn't like. And they pick up people like Denchi or whoever.
No, but when you start the game, you're not aiming for the top, so you might as well play with anyone just to get practice.
Do you guys solo queue a lot?
Yes.
Sometimes.
I used to solo queue a lot.
Depends.
Right now I only duel.
So the main tip, Commander guys, is make sure you use keybinds.
The main tip is
make sure you guys write this down. I hope someone's writing this down because that is just next level. I'm really glad that we brought you guys on.
Yeah, don't go picking styles. No, but like the main idea.
The shot's fired. Jeez, Denchi.
Probably the main thing you should think about is like actually understand that it's Conquest and not like a single player game. It's about having good coordination with your teammates. It's not about being the most successful individual player. Even if you want to be as good as you can individually, like it's still a team play game. Like there's a lot of teams that have had mechanically less skilled players, but they play smart. Like they know the game and they know their teammates, and they play better because of it.
And for generally, good practice would be to go to the 1v1 servers.
But that's really good.
They're available in the EU.
For mechanics, for mechanics.
Yeah.
But for us, for example, we just duel each other mainly. Before tournaments and stuff like this, or to try out different things. But you shouldn't judge too much from just those duels either. Even though I duel Tage on his Dipsy, I duel Denchi on Ellie, I duel Saize all the time. Maybe I might, be less good against Saize with this current build, but in 9 of 10 situations, so it's kind of like, don't judge too much from simple duels. You must see it.
You mentioned going into duel servers. So I've seen you in the duel servers before, Sizer, on your Twitch stream. When you go in there, a lot of times you'll find players that are playing like duel builds, right? Like they only play builds that are good for dueling. So a lot of like conditioned mesmers or what have you. Those don't really translate well into team play. Like clone death mesmer is not great for team queues, right?
I agree.
So like how do you kind of filter through that? Like
on the 1v1 server specifically.
Yes, overall.
I don't mind fighting them because you can still beat them. It's just
but I mean new
harder,
players. Like this thing is
new players.
Yeah, like as a new player, like I would get one of the tournament builds that you see top teams running. But like what I do, I only duel on the build I play in actual tournaments. Like I never swap my utilities for a duel.
Exactly.
Like I just try to find a way to make it work with what I'm running. And if it's a duel you can't like beat, then it's a matchup you can't win, then why take it in a real game?
Yeah. If you want to be good in Conquest as a new player, the Conquest mode, you want a 5-man team, then don't judge too much from those people in the one-on-one server
but you always kind of have a chance no matter what build you are if you don't.
I know, that's why you
but I mean, of course,
the one build. But
not
you don't,
using a portal as a mesmer in a one-on-one server. Of course, it's inferior to use this portal than a link. Or a decoy, or null field, whatever.
What Grouch is meaning is like going in practicing in the 1v1 server, he means that if you take all these 1v1 builds, you might not be as useful in Conquest. But just go into the 1v1 server, practice mechanics, but on your Conquest build.
Yes.
But focus on dodging, to learn the dodge, when to dodge.
Yeah. That's like the biggest issue.
First step. Because when you learn to dodge, you also learn the other class abilities and everything, kind of.
Do you have any specific, I guess, pro tips on rotating? I think rotating is probably, and you guys mentioned this before, is probably the most difficult part about Conquest. Like, at the end of the day, professions are just pushing buttons, and it's kind of easy. You can kind of find a rotation, you can figure it out. But the thing where teams fail the most often is, you know, knowing where to go and when. Like, what can you, what kind of tips do you have for new players getting in that want to be able to rotate appropriately?
We always announce the respawns, so we know when they're back in the map. And
but you need to
always
know,
have
like,
an eye on the close point defender, because every team usually only has one guy that defends his close, so if he's not there, it's usually free cap.
Yeah, I can give you an example.
Unless there's respawns.
I can give you an example.
Wrong.
Then you start you, and I will give the example.
Okay, no, basically, like, you have to know, like, why are you rotating someone there. If it's like, if I'm on my Ellie, I'm on 1v1 versus a bunker guardian, I don't need another bunker. Like, I need someone that can kill him. Like, it depends on what you want to do. If you want to hold a point nuke, if you're in like a 2v2, you're versus 2 tanky classes, or like 2 DPSers, then maybe you want a bunker so that you can keep the point.
So I think one of the hardest rotations, at least for me, and maybe I'm just being selfish and I didn't answer so I can get better, when is the appropriate time to take your Guardian from mid? Say they're fighting on side points, your Guardian's sitting in the middle, not doing anything. When do you call him over to your point, and when do you tell him to stay?
If you want to push him too far, you push him too far to stall. Like, you push him too far to stall. If you have a 1v1, if Rom is 1v1ing someone far, or like 1v2, you push the Guardian far so that he can support and stall the fight. So that they're forced to put more DPSers there to be able to kill the bunkers. That way you keep a 2 cap for as long as possible as you're like keeping 1 point mute. Like,
As well as...
Yeah. Okay.
Now,
You must...
Go ahead.
Can I go on?
Yes, you may go.
Yeah, okay. We're at the mid fight at Niflel, for example. We're at the mid fight. We have capped our close points. We are now stomping, let's say 2 guys. We stomped 2 guys in our team. Or we lost 1, we stomped 2. Then even though you want to outnumber this fight for as long as possible to win it 100%, let's say you stomp the thief, then you must know that he is fast. He is very fast, meaning that he will decap our point if we are in a 5v5 in the middle. So you must, even though you want to outnumber for longer, you know, even though the fight is not over, one guy must leave to ASAP to check where the thief is moving. And I mean, just if he moves, maybe he will get the decap off with a shadow refuge or something, but then he still wasted his shadow refuge and stuff like this. And then you have 1 minute to know that he does not have any invis whatsoever in that perspective.
So here's a hypothetical situation for you. Say you're fighting on Temple, and that's their far point, and you're fighting on it, and they send someone back to backcamp you. Which one of you guys would actually leave and try to take the 1v1 on that point, or would you just let it go?
Who would be running to backup? If it's a warrior running to backup, then I'd probably either I would go as an Ellie first to stall the fight so I can get a +1 from a thief or a mesmer, or we would send Rom who can 100% 1v1 him, because the warrior is then slow to get there in the first place. If it's a thief going there, we'd send Cypher after him.
Send someone else.
Yeah. But the problem can also be sometimes you simply, if he managed to reach that too fast, then we just counter decap.
But the idea is to know
just goes too far.
We're already on far, Ron. We're already on. We have close, we have mid, and we are fighting on far.
Oh, okay.
Like, you always want to send a thief after a thief, because there's no other class that can outmaneuver a thief than a thief.
Right.
So, like, if it's a thief pushing our close, then yes, Icer is going to go.
So do you guys call out? You guys call it out differently every time, then, so we know.
Yeah. We play off numbers and calls, like whatever class is there. Like, if we have a bunker guardian on far and we're fighting mid and we have like Rom 1v1ing the bunker guardian, we want to have a DPS there so that we can kill the guardian. Which basically means me and Tage and someone is going to stall mid so that they can +1 far, kill it, and then come back and kill mid. Like, it depends on what class is at on what point. Like, what do you want to do? What's the purpose of the rotation?
I think one of the hardest things for players is one of the hardest things for new players is communicating well, like especially when it comes to counting. It's a little bit easier now because you have the minimap improvements, so you can see how many players are on each point. But I still think, what's that?
It's actually a lot better now with the new minimap. It's really easy to like watch what classes were.
Exactly. But the times it doesn't work is when you see someone go far and they're decapping your point, you don't know who that is because you don't have a player that's in line of sight of that. So do you guys constantly call heads no matter what? Like, you know, we have 4 here, 2 here, 1 here, etc. Like, what are some tips for new players? Like, how can new players like communicate better in a team environment? Like, what things should they be calling?
Everything. Like, what cooldowns they use, if they double dodge,
Yeah, like if you're going for a target,
Everything
let's
they
say you
see,
mark a
everything
target,
they
like
see.
we're going for the Mesmer, then yeah, call if the Mesmer uses this distort, or if he uses his double
Yes.
dodge, or if he dodges.
Almost
But you don't want to call like all the other targets around. And then you want to know
Exactly.
like important classes, like you want to know where the Necro is, or like where they have their Guardian, or where the Thief is. Those are like the 3 most important classes to keep track of, because they can like change the game the most, I'd say. So like it
Yeah.
depends. You have to know like what's strong versus you. You have to know what classes are where. You have to know numbers. You have to know respawns, and then you just have to call like you have to be able to talk to your team. Like if there's someone pushing our close, you call like, okay, Thief pushing close. Then someone in your team needs to know that he's the one that's supposed to take the matchup. Like Slicer needs to know, and he will say, yeah, I'm going, or whatever. Like so that it's also clear that he's going, so that you don't rotate 3 people instead of 1.
And
Yes.
if you guys have to make targets, don't Control T takes too long. You have to rebind it.
Yeah, I have it on. I call target on 5 and I take target on tab.
I have Shift X to make target with the crosshair on top. You know.
Yeah, as well as
Control
like
T, you can't. It's rebind.
a common thing for me to say, for example, on Niflel, back when I was Conde Warrior, then I killed the Svanir in literally 11 seconds. I killed it in 11 seconds. But I kept the close point, and we have 4 guys, one either moving far just to poke a bit, not engage in any fight, maybe size, just poking, fucking with 2 guys. Nothing more. He should not die though. We hate when he dies. But yeah, he just pokes. We call it poking. But then we have the mid fight, and then what I would say is, do you see Shad? Where's Shad? Where's Shad? Where's Shad? If we're facing 55 monks, because I need to know ASAP where he is. I need to know where Misha and Shad is, because those are the only one that could come and steal the boss, or Shad actually, the only one. So if they see Shad, if they have pressured Shad, they know that he is not close to our side of the map, then I can kill the Svanir just for free, because they have a Hambo on their point who cannot kill the Svanir that fast. And if he does, sometimes I even poke the Lord. I want Shad to come to me for us to outnumber the mid-fight. I poke the Svanir for him to move. So he thinks that I'm killing it, and then I'm not killing it, but I'm forcing him out of the fight, and we are outnumbering in the mid-fight. This I did many times, and it worked.
Yeah.
Rob, you've been banned from chat.
What?
You've been banned from chat based on your language. So I have one quick question for you. One last question for Sizer, and then we're gonna move on. I want to talk about the NA Tournament of Legends. A question from Leung CTM. He's wondering how he gets out of the low end of the solo queue leaderboards. Like, what's a good strategy for getting out of like the bottom and moving up towards the top?
To say the truth, it is queue times. No, I'm joking. Okay, I guess you would have to. I don't know. Depends what. Every class you can make it to the top. You see every class on the higher leaderboards. It's just, I don't know. Maybe if it's a bad team, you should support them more in team fights and not go solo around. And in solo queue you can decap often because they don't have communications. You have to take advantage of those stuff.
So it can be helpful to watch their home point, get decaps as often as possible.
Yeah, they never have home point defenders in solo queue really. And I mean in the lower brackets, and then once you reach the higher brackets, so in the lower brackets I guess the advice is decap.
Decap, but not decap NG.
No.
Well,
Just decap
is
or
not
run
that-
away.
All right, so let me get this poll in.
I mean, free caps, not decaps, just free caps.
Get this poll in chat. So we're gonna move over to we're gonna talk about the Tournament of Legends for NA just a little bit here. And I know Denchi plays on NA all the time, and I know Blue is constantly watching games. So as an interesting note, the 8 teams that were selected that were kind of reserved slots for the EU tournament all made it into the finals. All made it into the round of 8. Is that right, Blue?
Yeah.
Every single team.
Yeah.
So I was looking at the NA brackets today and kind of just taking a look to see if there's any teams that I think that could make it. And I think we might see some more competitive games on NA. Maybe it's because I'm more familiar. Not entirely sure, but I think there's some potential here. So I'm just going to kind of rattle through the top 8 teams here, and then we'll talk about it a wee bit. So Team Teamwork, that's Olrun and Kata, and I don't know the other names of the team members. I do apologize. Blue, maybe you could fill in some gaps where I'm derping here. We've got No Good Intentions. That's Marvin, APT, Bursty Burst, Casualty, and Fauci. It Ain't Easy being KPZ. A Tongue Twister. That's Reevesy, SubQD, KPud, Mado, and Intense. Apex Prime, probably one of the favorites to take the tournament, to be honest. And that's Knight, H-Man, Morpheus, Tarsus, and Chubbs. And they're also that's a I would say a tanky comp. They run Staff Ellie, and they've been running it since pre-patch. It's actually pretty beastly. One of the crowd favorites, Good Fights, Genyan, Kinsuda, Toker, Rar, I believe is still on there, and 5 Gauge. Yeah. And then Outplayed by Children, which is Wakey, Nos, Backpack, Happy Kid, and one person I'm forgetting. And then, of course, we have Team Lonely, poor Cade. That's Cade, Tanny, Kija, and I believe Heba.
Yeah.
And Nessie.
Yeah, that's it. Nestor's with them too.
I heard there might be some issues with that roster, potentially.
I don't know, but that's the roster right now. I know it is.
I've heard some things, but I haven't gotten anything official, just like through my email or anything. So for the moment, that's what their roster is. I'll have to wait and see though. I mean, they got till tonight to change.
You forgot Noscock on Outplayed by Children.
So is today the...
Yeah, Noscock.
That's a creative name.
I think he regrets that name every single day. I'm gonna be honest.
Prefers Nas, I believe.
Yes, I believe he does.
You need to say the whole name, otherwise there's no fun.
I can't. I've already wounded him enough when I mispronounced it one time.
He takes it a little personally, I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
But like, if I look at the NA thing, I think the strongest teams are gonna be Apex, Outplayed by Children, Team Lonely, It Ain't Easy Being KPZ, and then Good Fights. Those are like the favorites. And I think Apex is like the team that's been together for so long. I mean, they were gone for a while, but they came back as like the same lineup they used to have. So they're a team that have played together for a really long time, and they're probably like one of the only teams on NA that have actually stuck together. Mm-hmm. So I'd say they're probably my favorites for the tourney. And then we have Team Lonely, which is Cade and them. They're all really good players. I don't know their lineup though, and I don't know how long they've been playing together, so that might be an issue for them.
I think they're still figuring it out, to be honest.
Yeah, Lonely. I was talking to Cade the other day. They weren't too confident in their ability with this tournament, so we're gonna have to wait and see tomorrow to see how they do. Actually,
I think
Outplayed by Children are gonna do really good too.
Because I watched recent replays on the thingy NA games, and I realized that they don't have like vision on their home point. I mean, there's countless decap opportunities. So, and in the top NA teams, not all of them have thieves. So I think Cade's team can pull it off because the other teams don't have backpoint defenders.
I mean, like they've been doing pretty good. I believe they beat. I want to say they beat Good Fights the other day. Or the last Mispeda Weekly we had. I want to say they beat out Good Fights in a 2-0 victory, actually, so they weren't doing too bad, but their roster was still, I think it was 4 out of 5 of what they have now, so there's still been a change made up since then. Could be wrong on that one, though, because that was about 2 to 3 weeks ago now.
That's why I think Apex are going to be so strong, too, is because they've been playing together for so long. They know each other. Like
Apex also has the secrecy factor that you guys had, where in the fact that they have been scrimming with people in secret, not actually, like, playing any like public tournaments or anything, so they're gonna have that too. But the thing is that most people still know they're competent on this, so they still know what to expect from them. It's just that they've kind of still just been hiding themselves, so there's still the possibility they could bring something out. I believe they dueled 55 HP monks last week too and beat them.
Yeah, I think Outplayed by Children is like one of the teams they're gonna do really good too. They have all good players, and they play like a comp that is not very super NA. Well, okay, I think they're running something else now, but if they run that Mesmer and Necro and like Warrior / Ellie and stuff, if they've run that like super offensive comp with Da Vinci on the Hammer Guardian, they're probably going to do really well.
So quick question actually on the comp front. How come engineers are not run in EU, and why are they so prevalent on NA?
Because NGs are so easy to kill, I think. I think like an NG is like a target, they have so many counters, they can't really clear a mob, they have horrible stun breaks. Like that basically makes them versus...
No, they rely on good positioning.
Yeah, they rely really hard on good positioning and basically no NGs
and team support.
Yeah.
Just to get new 2v1.
Yeah, but if they can't get out of immobs and they can't get out of condis very well, and they can't get out of stun breaks, like it's a power comp's dream to just like one-shot an NG.
I think it's more the fear, which is the issue.
Strength runes. We hear you.
Yes. I mean, staff Guardian, Ellie and Warrior, Ellie and Warrior has strength runes. You have 25 might stacks after 15 seconds of battle.
No, but I also guess
the
NGs in an A don't get pressured by thieves because they all just shot go down.
EU, like every team on EU runs a thief, and thief pressures NG really hard. And then if you have a Mesmer on top of that, it's just like, what's the NG gonna do? I don't know.
That's a good point. And there's a Well, there's a couple good Necros on NA2, and as an engineer myself, I know that can be absolutely frightening to get hit with a with really anything by Necro. It's pretty much the end of everything.
Necros are... Yeah, nobody likes them.
No comment?
Nobody likes to be feared. Like, I think Necros is really easy to play versus if you have a coordinated team, because Necros do not have escapes. Like, I mean, you have Spectral Walk, and it's fine, and you have the Worm, but it's so easy to force them. And once that's gone,
I
you're
love
dead.
Necros.
Like, you're food.
Yeah.
My ideal team would be
like
2
your
Necros, but no one agrees with me.
Yeah, but it's like, Necros are really good if you have good positioning, too. It's like one of those rewarding classes for positioning, and not mechanical skill, which is why a lot of teams don't run them, because they don't have good coordination, like good team coordination.
And they need support if they get 2v1s.
Yeah.
All right, so I've been linking the poll in the chat here a little bit, and got some pretty decent results here now. So it looks like Good Fight's actually crowd favorite at the moment, and it might just be the
they're
most,
like the biggest name.
Yeah,
they're the largest
most familiar.
So
Followed by Outplayed by Children, and then Apex coming in third, No Good Intentions, and then it kind of trails off from there. Cade's team picking up 2 votes. He's got 2 followers out there that appreciate his work. But yeah, Good Fight's kind of out in the lead here, so it'll be interesting this weekend.
Yeah.
Regardless.
Their name's Team Lonely. Like, nobody really knows who Team Lonely is right now. It's not a name that's been there.
Right. Basically, we call it Cade's team. Cade's team and Cade and Tanny.
It's like the standard Helsif's team.
Right.
No, it's not Helsif's
Come
team.
on, Blue.
It's not Helsif's team. Helsif is carried hard, okay? Welcome to truth.
sorry, it's just the habit. We have to break it.
So if you guys were to come to NA in a theoretical situation, if you guys came to NA, had no lag, how do you think you guys would fare against the teams we talked about?
I think our strongest opponent would be Apex. But we would... I don't know. I haven't played versus them enough to know how they rotate. But if they rotate well, they could be a threat. If they don't rotate very well,
we are superior on rotations by far.
Yeah, but no, it depends on if the food in our lineup would die too much.
Yeah.
Like Sizer and Health, basically.
No,
Yeah,
it's true.
NA
players
comes down to Sizer and
NA players they go a lot of
It comes
team
down
fight
to them a lot.
all-ins without backpoint defending.
I think you said
Yeah.
food.
Because of that, we'll steamroll them.
Helsif is food. He's like dead. If anyone
Gotcha.
knows
Yeah,
him,
I'm
he's
just
dead.
gonna give you a scenario then. Let's say me, Tage, and Denchi. It was one time we faced Shad, and me and Tage were tanking 3 guys for a long time. And of course, the camera view from you guys were not on this. But yeah, whatever. We were fighting here. We were outnumbering on the map during this time. Denchi, Sizer, Hellset versus Shad and Misha. So obviously we could catch those 2 points while we tanked. Then Denchi manages to come into this fight where me and Tage are, and we still keep all points contested. But the problem was now then that we are 3 versus 3 here, and during this time when they respawned at one time, Sizer and Hellset got killed by Shad and Misha because they were, you know,
I think it was
such
Nia
a
and
risky.
Chad, actually, which is funny. It was Nia and Chad. Like,
Yeah, it was
basically,
Nia
I
and
think,
Chad. Sorry,
yeah, it was
yes,
Nia
it was
and
Nia
Chad,
and Chad.
which made for like a hard matchup. And I think Sizer pulled out too early from the fight. Like, we got a missed call or something, which made Helsef lose it, and then they could start contesting 2 side points.
Oh, that point. No, I did it because I knew it's gonna become a 2v2, and then if I just chase him there and then come back, I'll be longer in the fight, and I made him waste Shadow Step. I gained 2 extra seconds of outnumbering. But then I didn't know that he had no cooldowns when he engaged the Ranger. So he couldn't take the
like, a lot of our gameplay comes down to, like, because Mesmer is kind of still weak. Like, it was broken when the AI was broken. After that, it became kind of weak again.
Yeah.
Like, it's a
And
class
I love
that is really...
Mesmers.
Yeah, I love Mesmers, but they're super susceptible to being bursted or, like, killed by Condis, so you have to play it super safe. And when
But
we
they give
leave
the same
Slicer
threat
and...
back.
Yeah, but when we leave Slicer and Helsef, like, around close, they have a lot of bad 2v2s that they can get into, which makes it hard. Like, there's a lot of matchups that you don't want to fight.
Yeah. And it's not their fault. It's not their skill. It's just the
it's
class.
the
We shouldn't put them there, you know.
Yeah.
We had that issue sometimes, but we had perfect form on this final day. The day after the Saturday, if I recall correctly,
Yeah, the first
Saturday
day.
we had, you know, we played for 7 hours or something like this. We had such bad mentality. I remember, like, Denchi was irritated on everything and shit like that. But I mean, it's on the final day we all had Power Kings or Red Bulls or whatever, and I had my snooze. You know, and everything was good. We had the best mentality going. The form is everything as well. The form of the day. So, guys in NA, please sleep. All right.
Don't
Great
do it
advice.
like
Great advice.
Guys on the West Coast gotta wake up early, so they better get to sleep.
Yeah, for
Yes.
sure.
that. Oh yeah.
9 a.m. for them.
All right, guys. So it's I didn't realize what time it was. It's already like 12:55. It's already been like an hour. Kind of time
really?
kind of flew by. Yeah, it was fun. Once again, congrats guys for winning the European Tournament of Legends. Hopefully we see you guys together in similar form in the next one in June or July. And thanks again, Blue, for coming on as well. Again, the North American Tournament of Legends starts tomorrow. We'll be giving away precursors and llamas, and there'll be some exciting games, and it should be a great time. So hopefully you guys come out. I'll definitely be there all day tomorrow, participating in chat, kind of hanging out, and hopefully we see you guys as well.
Thanks for having us.
All right.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah,
Yeah,
thanks.
exactly.
Thanks.
All right, we'll see you guys next time. Again, hey, follow these guys on Twitter and whatever else. And check these guys out on EU. Again, that's the Civilized Gentlemen. Follow Blue on Twitter there. You can also find his Twitch channel at twitch.tv/blue42. And make sure you guys follow this channel as well. You need to be following tomorrow in order to be eligible for prizes. So again, we'll see you tomorrow. And have a good one.
Grouch.